Video 33, part 2, the Epson Photo 1400 CIS conversion. Now welcome back. We've now filled all of the reservoirs with the various colours of Lyson Photonic XG ink. We've also primed all of the cartridges. We've taken out the little bung, remember, we've put the syringe in and we've pulled it out just one time, and the ink goes up the tube and it fills up each cartridge, and we put the bung back in. We've been very careful not to hurt this little switch here, and also be very careful about these chips, because these chips need to read accurately with the printer. So we're ready now to put our cartridge assembly into the printer. Now what we do is we've pressed the ink change button, so the cartridge carrier goes across to the ink change position. We've taken out the lid, and we're going to keep that just in case at any time in the future we want to put the Epson cartridge back in. So we're going to take that out. Now, just to make sure, we're going to take the lead out the back of the printer so that we can now move the carriage up and down quite safely. Now this next little bit is quite fun. What we're going to do is we're going to move the cartridges. Let's position the reservoirs where they're supposed to go now. And it's very important that the reservoirs sit on the same height as the printer. Here we show the Marrott universal drip tray. Now these drip trays are great to buy because you're able to hold any of the little drips and they keep everything together. So these are available for I think they're around £25 each. What we do now is we turn our attention back to the printer. We've moved our carriage across to the left. We're going to move the little chips are at the back here. We're going to move this underneath the bridge, and we're going to move it up above the bridge, and we're going to move the carriage back to the ink change position. We haven't got to worry here because the juice is out, nothing's going to move, and we can simply just push that loosely into the printer, just loose at the moment. Here we go. Now let's make sure it's fit, like so. There we are. Just find its way down there like that. Now I haven't pushed it all the way in yet because we've got other things to do. Now the approximate position of this little ski ramp is already set for you. So what we're going to do is we allow the tubing to lead underneath here, and we bring it up, and when we look down across the top, we want the tubing to be pretty well in line with the tubing underneath. So we can now take our alcohol swab, there's our alcohol swab here. Incidentally, do you notice how clean all this is? And my hands are nice and clean. People say, oh, I wouldn't fancy a continuous ink system installation because I'd end up in a terrible mess. But actually, if you take it nice and steady, it's not too bad at all. So we're going to swab the areas where we're going to want to put little self-adhesives. What I tend to do is get a little bit of cloth and just dry that out. So I don't have to wait for the alcohol to dry. And that means to say we've removed all of the grease from the printer. And we're on the last stage of installing. So we're going to put that just around on level there. Okay. Now that takes a while to get its full strength. Now we're lining the clip, the left hand side of the clip up adjacent to the bridge there, and that makes for the best possible strength where we present the tubing nicely up there on the little ski ramp, as you can see there, and then we can put the other tube clip on the other side. Nothing fussy really, just so it goes across there like that. Now these tube clamps are really good because you can press down and you can change the position of them. So we're not going to worry too much about where they actually are. Now's the time to actually push the whole assembly down into the printer. So nice, be a little bit confident here. You press down at the top and you can hear all of the cartridges have now clicked in securely. The last little bit of adjustment is we can push the assembly up to the other side. Now we can see already that we need to adjust our position a little bit. So we can actually drag that through a little bit, drag that through a little bit more, push it a little bit more, pull it through a bit, just so we set the position nicely. Now the idea is push it through a bit more like this, up to the end, a little bit more. This is the final adjustment, so that when the carriage is right across to the left, it doesn't want to be too taut, it still wants to have a reasonably, that's it, we're just pulling it through a little bit more, and that's fine. That's fine. That sort of tension there is fine, and we find that when it goes back, it adopts a nice curl. So there we have it there. It goes all the way back, all the way here like that. We can now put the juice on the machine. Let it start its way up. While we're waiting, we go back here to the final part and we simply put our little upstands on the on top here. They're little bungs that enable the printer, enable us to have the lid just raised slightly, so we don't pinch the tubes. And finally, the last job is to put the breathers in. Now I won't bore you with me putting all the breathers in, but that's what you do. You put all the breathers in across the side, and the final job for you to complete is for you to look at your CD that's been provided with your kit, and you take this CD, you put it in your drive, and that actually gives you all of the profiles that you'll need, the generic profiles, and also the free custom profile that the Lyson Laboratory will provide for you, so that you can get to a really good colour and density accuracy on your printing. So quite simply, it's a case of filling the reservoirs, priming the cartridges, putting the cartridges in, and then getting a good nozzle check now, and then you can start to do your printing. Now the last aspect of this is that you'll find that this, just settling down now, the last aspect of this is that the chips themselves on the 1400, what happens is that on the 1400 the chips will indicate that you have an out of ink condition. Now when that happens, all you do is you press the ink change button like we've done now, so it'll come back and it'll rest at the ink change position, and what you do is you simply press the reset button, and then you press the ink change button again, and that will reset all the inks. And quite simply, all you need to do is keep an eye on your levels, and to make sure you've got a good complement of ink at all times. We normally recommend, have I done that right? Yeah, I think I have. That's it. We just untangle that. We normally recommend that when the ink goes down to just above the label, that's the time to replenish. And if you're buying a 60ml replenishment kit, you'll find you'll be able to put the whole 60ml ink, and it goes all the way up to the top again.